Hey, what's up? This is Art Garfunkel here. A while ago now I reviewed the Riot Division modularity jacket, which had some pretty cool functionality in the form of pockets that you can take off, turn into a little pouch or a bag or a little belt or whatever. Well, they're back with something that boasts even more functionality in the form of the Ultimate City jacket. This thing showed up on Kickstarter and Indiegogo recently, successfully funded, so now it's coming out, shipping in February, I believe. So they sent me a little bit of an early version to have a little look at and give a review of. So thank you very much to Riot Division for this one. Let's take a look at exactly what you get for your $199 retail price, or I think hopefully is still available, the Kickstarter sort of pre-purchase price of $119. So here's the jacket in its default parka length, which is fairly long. Looks wise, it's pretty much par for the course for a Techwear piece, although perhaps a little bit more on the understated side of the spectrum. It's black, there's lots of pocket detailing, there's a double zip, but otherwise it's fairly minimal. There's not really any visible branding at all, for example. You could certainly dress this up into a relatively strong Techwear looking sort of tech ninja type thing, or dress it down and sort of wear it with a more standard outfit. I think in that respect there is a little bit of flexibility here. This is a pretty regular fit, this is a large, which is my standard size, and I think this fits okay, so I would recommend going your normal size on this one. I've got no problems with the shape really, it's pretty kind of straight cut. The neck comes up perhaps a little bit higher than your average jacket would, which is quite good. The hood is perhaps on the closer fitting side as opposed to the roomier side, but I don't think it looks stupid or weird or wrong or anything, so that's good. The outer material is quite thin and it has a slightly crinkled appearance, as you can see here. I'm not a massive fan of this texture, but I think it's kind of done out of necessity, partly due to that much lower price than a lot of kind of similar jackets, and partly due to that transformative nature and the kind of packability of that jacket. I think that definitely means that you have to have a material which can be scrunched up like this. Luckily though, this isn't just a single layer thing, there is a kind of mesh inner as well, so it is very much like a proper jacket. It's not just like a really thin papery type deal like with that Adidas jacket that I reviewed ages ago. That mesh inner gives a little bit of weight to this jacket, and I would expect a little bit more warmth than if it was just a pure shell. It's pretty comfy as well, partly because of that mesh layer on the inside, and partly because this material on the outside is quite flexible and soft as well. Visible on the front, there's quite a lot of pockets here. There's two big main ones that go vertically down either side, with two more slightly smaller ones that are just outside it, and there's some horizontal pockets as well to stick your hands and whatever else in. That's a pretty comfy angle for doing so, so I like that, and there's certainly a lot of room in these pockets, as you can tell just by the sheer size of them. I'm not going to talk about every pocket in too much detail here because there is just so many of them. Not only is there the visible ones, but each pocket on the inside is broken down further into different compartments. So on one side you've got like a little space for pens and stuff, you've got a mini like internal zipped pocket, there's a couple of different sized ones, one of which you can fit a tablet in, one's designed for like a little moleskin sized notebook, there's one for a phone in there somewhere as well. There's even one on the arm which Riot Division advertise as the perfect space to put a sort of city travel card. In London that would be the Oyster card, for example, something that you can very easily scan when you're getting on and off public transport, so you don't have to get your wallet out or anything like that. I think this is a great idea, and I'm surprised that other jackets aren't doing this yet. There's not like a zip or velcro or anything like that to kind of seal it on, so I would perhaps be a bit cautious about using it for like a contactless debit card, just in case it did manage to get out of there. I think it's relatively secure anyway, but yeah, it's one thing to lose an Oyster card with 10 quid on it, it's quite another to lose your debit card. So I would play it safe with that one, and yeah, stick to travel stuff. But the option is there nonetheless. Unless you do want to carry something quite large that would only conceivably fit in a backpack or a messenger bag, I think for most sort of day trips out, this jacket definitely does have enough storage space to pretty much take everything you want with you. One amusing thing though is that the large side pockets are actually the same as the horizontal pockets for your hands. So presumably this is so that you can carry really big things if you want that span like the entire length. But it is a bit odd in that like you can put your hand through one pocket and then it sort of comes out the other side. Yeah, personally I think I would prefer it if these two were kept separate, so that you didn't have any of this sort of like you put it in one pocket but then you can get it out of another one type thing. But then again, the biggest thing that I would ever carry around is a switch, and that would fit in the top half no problem. So if there's some situation where you want to carry something that's a bit bigger than that, a bit longer, and you don't have a bag, you only have this jacket, then that functionality will probably come in handy. But onto the main event now. The most exciting thing about this jacket is the transformative capabilities. So you might have seen a few GIFs of this floating about on the internet already, but this jacket can transform between the parka length that I've already showed off and a shorter jacket version. So to do this, all you got to do, there's some little toggles, some pull cords that are inside those long pockets, and you just give those a pull and pull them all the way out, and then that lifts up the bottom of the jacket and it connects to these little magnetic closures that kind of snap it shut and keep it at that length. I've got to give Riot Division props for this one. I've never seen anything like this in the jacket, and it's such a cool little piece of functionality to like see this jacket sort of rise up and change configuration and then just like snap into place without you having to do anything. It's a great little party trick, and I think it's super cool. I guarantee you can rock up pretty much anywhere, show them this functionality, people are going to be at least a little bit impressed. Doing the reverse is not quite as seamless, but still fairly easy, I think. You just disconnect the fidlock parts, and then you pull the cord down from the bottom, and then it drops it down to parka length. It maybe take you 10 seconds, something like that, with a bit of practice. So it's not sort of super fiddly and rubbish to do. Anything which gives you more options or increases versatility of something, I think, is always really good. However, the question remains, how often do you actually need to use something like this? I would say two things to that. A, it's just so unique that it's a cool thing to have on a jacket anyway, even if you don't need it. And B, it makes the barrier to doing that change so low that it doesn't really matter if there's not that much reason to do it. It's just so easy that like you can do it anyway. Like, I don't know, if you want to sit down on a bench but it's kind of wet, you can just lengthen it and then sit down and then your bum doesn't get wet. But then if you want to run for a bus and you need a bit more kind of maneuverability, then you can raise it again. And then if you spill mustard on your trousers, then you can lower it again and then hide it up. Those functions might be so minor that maybe you're only solving small problems, but the fact is it's super easy to do it, so why not? The entire jacket actually packs onto a pocket that's kind of concealed on the back of the jacket. Although this is a little bit more effort than a sling because you've got to squash it into this little pocket, it's still fairly easy to do, and it is very portable when it's in this form. The other cool thing is it does make it into a genuine bag in that there's a little kind of side pocket that you can put things in because it's sort of empty by default. In bag form it does look pretty plain, and it kind of does look like there's a jacket squashed into there just because of the shape that it tends to take. But it's still pretty good functionality and something that you wouldn't necessarily expect of a jacket that has all this other functionality as well. And if that's not enough, Riot Division have packed one more piece of functionality in here, and that is the length of the sleeves can be adjusted via a little cord as well. It's pretty much the same place as the cord that adjusts the length of this jacket, a little bit further over, and you can pull this cord and it will sort of cinch the sleeves in a little bit to reduce that length. So it goes from a kind of slightly longer than normal, kind of covering a little bit of the hand, up to sort of just above wrist kind of height. The nature of this mechanism does feel a little bit strange just because the sleeve is being pulled in kind of across one line rather than equally over the whole sleeve. And I kind of feel like it might have been a bit more comfortable had they used a Velcro cuff, and then you could just kind of cuff it a little bit higher up. But again, the sort of like automatic sleeve lengthening thing is quite a cool party trick. It feels quite different and unique as well. So from an innovation standpoint, I think it's kind of cool. So although the material of this jacket is pretty soft compared to a lot of other things that I've reviewed on this channel, I don't think water resistance is really kind of up there with those things either. Although I think this will be fine if you go out and it's kind of raining a bit, or you get caught out in the rain or that sort of thing. I wouldn't expect to use this jacket sort of on an all-day hike and it's super wet out. I think after a period of time, water is going to stop running off this. I did give it a very quick test. I just like ran it under the sink for a little bit, and water did kind of like run off for a bit, but then fairly quickly it did start to kind of like hang about on that layer. But saying that, I think you do have to take into account the cost of this jacket. 3-layer fabrics are pretty expensive to make stuff out of, and the transformative and kind of packable nature of this bag. To do any kind of 3-layer fabric or any Gore-Tex or something, it just wouldn't work with that transforming sort of stuff that they've got going on. So sacrifices do have to be made somewhere. I'm not saying, of course, that this isn't a water-resistant jacket and that you're going to get soaked the second you step out in the rain, but I think relative to other jackets, like some of Riot Division's other things, for example, I don't think this is going to have quite the level of water resistance as those. So all in all, there is a lot to this jacket functionality-wise. I think that adjustable length mechanism is very cool and a genuine technical feature. Even though the material is a little bit thin, perhaps not as water resistant as some other things, and does have that slight crinkled effect that I'm not massively keen on, I still think that this jacket has a huge amount to offer in terms of its features. And in fact, in terms of pure kind of features to price, I think this is pretty much one of the best like bang for buck jackets you can get out there at the moment. If you're after more fabric performance at this price point, you could look at something like the North Face or Patagonia, but then of course you would be missing out on so many features and functionality that make this jacket such a cool and such a unique piece of clothing. So yeah, a very cool technical jacket, and if you're kind of thinking that you're after something like this but you don't have the money to kind of splash out on ACG or even some of Riot Division's more expensive jackets, then I would definitely say consider this. From an aesthetic perspective and from a features perspective, it's definitely a winner. So that's been everything on this Riot Division Ultimate City jacket. Do let me know what you guys think of it. I hope you liked all of those different kind of like features and the different heights and stuff. I think that's really cool. But yeah, I'd be interested to know what you guys think. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, do make sure to give it a like. And thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Shout out to everyone that is also watching Full Metal Alchemist. There are quite a few of you in the comments section. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I've not watched that much anime, but yeah, it's good. And shout out to Lucas Teng, who asked what I think about the VaporMax Chucker as opposed to the VaporMax Utility. I've got to be honest, I'm not feeling those ones. They kind of look like the ugly version of the Utilities to me. But I would be interested to see them in a sort of full outfit. Maybe someone can pull them off. I don't know, but yeah, personally, I'm not really feeling it. Okay, upload the video, then add the end screen stuff. And then there will be things up there that you can click on, more videos, and there will also be a subscribe button over on that side. Last 2 weeks, I did it and it only took like 4 people reminding me in the comments before I put it up. But this time it's going to be even faster and they're going to be there from minute 1, I promise. Maybe.